Welcome to Women of a Certain Stage, the podcast redefining how we think about menopause. I'm your host, Lauren Churin, a passionate advocate for breaking the stigma and empowering individuals to navigate this transformational stage of life with confidence and clarity. Here, we're diving into a new era of menopause support, featuring expert advice, real-life stories, and actionable insights. Whether you're curious about building your personal menopause plan or you're looking to make an impact, you're in the right place. Let's embrace the change together. Kirsteen, thank you so much for making time to connect. I know that you're super busy, and before we even dive in, can you just explain to people whereabouts in the world you are?
I am at the far north of Scotland, almost as far north as you can go.
And whereabouts is that?
I'm in Caithness.
Caithness, such a beautiful part of the world. And if anyone hasn't been to the north of Scotland, I would highly recommend that they make a visit. It's just, I love my time when I get an opportunity to come back to Glasgow and then take trips up north. It feels like you're just in a different planet compared to living down in the southwest of England or in any city for that matter. And with that in mind, living in somewhere like Caithness, how do you think that means people's experience of going through any health challenge or transition like menopause is different from someone that might have resources in a larger city, if at all?
I suppose there's some barriers. We still see quite a lot of taboos around women's health, and it's a small community. Everybody knows you, and so on and so forth. So it is a challenge sometimes. But at the same time, we have built an amazing community for women here, and we have opened up the conversation. So it's come a long way in the last few years.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a bit more of a challenge. If somebody wanted to pay to go to see a menopause specialist, they would have to travel 100 miles and that sort of thing as well. So yeah, it is. It's very remote and rural.
Yeah, and I think listening to you just now saying we have, but you've been quite instrumental in making some of these changes. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I'm chair for North Highland Women's Wellbeing Hub, and myself and two friends have totally transformed women's health for the Highlands. We've got 4 women's health support groups, and yeah, it's been such an amazing few years, and it's such a privilege to hear women's stories when they come along and share with you at support sessions, and yeah, it's been such an incredible journey.
And what inspired you to do that? Because it's not every day someone wakes up and decides to put themselves out there and go the extra mile to go and help and support other people.
I decided back in December 2020 that I'd like to start an endometriosis support group. It was just myself at the time. Rebecca and Claire were actually group members, and we just linked up and got on really well and took it from there. I think I just such a lonely journey myself at times, incredibly challenging, a lot of surgeries. Endometriosis is really quite a debilitating disease that there is no cure for. So just really wanted to make a difference in my community, and it did start off for Caithness and Sutherland and grew to North Highland.
That's a massive achievement, and I'm curious, endometriosis is something that comes up in my work all the time for obvious reasons, because anything to do with our cycles or anything to do with estrogen is obviously going to impact the work that I'm doing. But what I also know is that it takes a very long time before anyone gets diagnosed with endometriosis. It takes even longer for anyone to get help and support. So what do you see, or what was your journey, or what do you generally see in the population when it comes to people identifying that there is, first of all, an issue, and then getting the right help and support, or even being diagnosed to start off with?
My own journey is really quite different to everybody else's, bearing in mind where I live. I was taken seriously as a teenager. I had my first surgery at 15. So I was believed. Unfortunately now, the diagnosis time has gone up to 9 years in Scotland, which is a horrendous amount of time to not feel believed, to be going back and forth to medical appointments. It's seriously damaging for mental well-being. We're seeing a huge increase in gaslighting, particularly around endometriosis for diagnosis.
15 is really early for anyone to even, have the confidence to speak up. And I think that what was it? What were you experiencing that caused you to reach out for help and support? I'm guessing at the time you didn't know what endometriosis was.
No, it was a huge big word that you didn't even know how to pronounce. My periods were horrendous. I would lose a week of school every month, horrendous bleeding to the extent of needing 2 sanitary towels at a time, changing often, having to lie on an actual physical towel at night as well for just a little bit of added support. Horrendous pain. I mean, such vivid memories of lying in a fetal position on the bathroom floor, would pass out with pain, would be sick with pain, diarrhea. It was just horrendous, really, really challenging.
So that obviously would cause anyone to go and reach out for help and support. That's not something you can hide from anybody. So when you first reached out, you said you were heard, you were supported, you had your first surgery. And was endometriosis diagnosed at that point?
No. It was second laparoscopy at 20 before I was diagnosed officially. It was written in my medical records, but I was never diagnosed.
Oh, now that's interesting. That is fascinating. It's interesting, actually. The reason I'm picking up on that is, unbeknownst to me, when I had my son, I had a section after being in labour for 45 and a half hours. So it wasn't an emergency section, but it was a problematic pregnancy. They weren't sure if the baby was going to make it. And I had the section. We were in hospital. My son was in NICU for a while. Anyway, cut a long story short, about 12 weeks later, I was in the gym. I worked in the gym at the time. I was in the gym, and unbeknownst to me, because I couldn't have pulled him out from a lineup, the surgeon that did the section actually came over to me and asked me why I was in the gym lifting weights, because he told me that because of the complications with the section, that I shouldn't be lifting any weights, even at 12 weeks, because of how much they'd had to cut away and the damage that they'd done. And secondly, what I found was really interesting was he said, you do know you can't have any more children because we had to basically destroy your uterus to get the baby out.
So,
I have never seen that in my medical notes. And the fact that he even recognised me in the gym, I've got no idea how you recognise someone from doing a C-section to seeing them in the gym, but that's a whole other conversation. But even to this day, no one, my son's 18 now, no one has ever told me that. No one's ever told me that.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's fascinating what we don't know about ourselves that someone else does.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I'm shocked to hear your story. So another 5 years on, so presumably you'd been suffering for a while before you went to the doctors, then you had surgery, you had another laparoscopy at 20. Then what happened? What happened next?
So when I was 20 and I had my laparoscopy, we had just got married. I was married quite young. And I can remember a doctor saying to me at the time, if you do want to have a family, I really wouldn't wait. So it completely uprooted our plans for a future. And I'd been on a pill since I was 15. They had put me on a pill after my first laparoscopy. So we didn't know how easy it would be to get pregnant. But miraculously, I fell pregnant immediately.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was with my daughter. So I was incredibly lucky to have her and my son.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I'm curious, in those intervening years from 15 to 20, how were you managing things? Had anything helped at that point? How were you coping?
So the pill had helped a bit, and there was a medication at the time called Ponston, and it seemed to make a difference as well. So I left school and I went to college, and I did do better than what I did at school. But by the time that we had not long after got married, it had completely overtaken me. I was pretty much bedridden. I had to give up my job. It was a really tough time for us, newly married, mortgage, had to give up, and then ended up pregnant then as well. So it was a tough few years, our first few years of marriage.
That is tough. That is incredible. And people don't, people hear about endometriosis, so they think problematic periods, but I don't think they have any concept of just how life-changing and life-altering it really is. So you've got your children, you're married, and then what's next? How were you managing your endo going forward?
So my second pregnancy ended in loss. It was a miscarriage. I also had a bicoordinate uterus, so it made things harder to carry as well. And then, ironically, on the day that would have been a due day for the baby that I lost, I had my first scan with my son. Life is strange sometimes, and I didn't have a good pregnancy with him. It was a really painful pregnancy, and I do suspect that I may have had adenomyosis as well. My uterus was recorded as being very bulky, so I do suspect that was a possibility too. But I was really ill after he was born. I had no quality of life, and I felt that I was failing as a mum because I was so ill. My mental health was not good, but we had two incredible gynaecologists here who fought for me, and I truly believe that they saved my life because they gave me a hysterectomy at 26. So, really, really young, but it gave my kids their mum back, and it gave me a better quality of life. And again, thinking that there'd probably been adenomyosis there, which has given me such a relief, which I got then to 2019, so I did quite well in a run-up after it.
Yeah. So how has everything unfolded from a menstrual health point of view from having your children till now? What's that journey been like?
So it was lovely not having the periods to deal with anymore, and having just that bit more energy and stuff. But there's always been a constant pain. I hadn't been pain-free since I was a teenager.
So for people that don't understand what endometriosis is, I think this is quite a good point for you to give an explanation of. Someone thinks about endometriosis, it's a problem, it causes problematic periods, but I don't think people really understand how much more your body systems can be affected and how it can affect outside of the womb as well. So could you maybe explain just to people what endometriosis actually is and how widely it can really impact on somebody?
So endometriosis is a horrendous disease. It has been found on every organ in the body. It had been every organ apart from his spleen, but it's now been found on his spleen as well. So it really can, in some rare cases, stick anywhere. It comes with the nightmare of lots of adhesions, which can stick your organs together. But it is where a tissue similar to a lining of a womb sort of shreds, and it just causes absolutely horrendous pain. I've had spells in my life where I've barely been able to walk because of the pain. It's like a sciatic pain that goes down your legs. Every aspect of life can be challenged with endometriosis.
And what feeds it? What is fueling the endometriosis?
Estrogen.
Yeah. Hence the reason for the hysterectomy, right?
Yeah.
Because your ovaries are the primary estrogen production machine in the body. But what you've said is you had your different treatment pathways. It ended up with you having a hysterectomy, and yet you're still suffering with endometriosis afterwards.
Yeah.
So can you make that connection for people that maybe haven't really dug into endo before?
So when I had my hysterectomy, I kept both my ovaries. I had my ovaries up until 2023. So things had become a bit more settled for quite some time. And then my gallbladder, of all things, kicked everything off again. And I had it removed in 2019. And my endometriosis just reared its head again afterwards. And I had excision surgery in 2021. I had a horrendous time with lots and lots of different cysts on my ovaries. It was really painful. And then they decided to do an oophorectomy in 2023. So took tubes and ovaries away then. I would say that I had become perimenopausal at 37, but nobody would kind of take you on because you're too young. And I've had a chemical menopause experience as part of treatment as well, so kind of had a taster of it all.
Yeah. So I'm curious, given that the main estrogen, and it's not the only, but the main estrogen production machine in the body is the ovaries, and endo is fed by estrogen. What do you think, or do you even know what the rationale was for the hysterectomy but leaving the ovaries in at the time?
My age. Yeah.
Was it simply down to age?
Yeah, and my ovaries were healthy back then. They had become really quite damaged by the time that I'd had them removed. I had a huge endometrioma as well, which is another type of endometriosis, like a huge chocolate cyst.
So you've basically had it all.
Yeah.
And you're here to tell the story.
I am.
And you're helping other people as well.
Yeah.
So what was next? What was next for you? You know, you decided to set up a support group. You've reached out and helped other people. So what is in place now as a result of that for people to reach out to?
So now we have the North Highland Women's Wellbeing Hub. So it's a constituted, not-for-profit, voluntary-led organisation with lived experience. Myself, Rebecca and Claire all have long-term gynae conditions, and myself and Claire are in surgical menopause. We now have 4 women's health support groups. We've got an endometriosis group, we've got a menopause group, we've got a general women's health group, and we've got a period health group. And between the 4 groups, we now have 1,000 group members.
1,000 people.
Yeah, we use our main page on Facebook for the Women's Hub to raise awareness for all areas. And we've been campaigning for a return of gynaecology services here in Caithness as well, because we've lost it in recent years and we now have to travel 100 miles. So it's coming with challenges.
How many people live in Caithness?
Oh gosh, I think the whole of Caithness is over about 20,000.
20,000. And there's no gynaecological services available?
We have one that visits occasionally.
Wow. That's really scary in 2025, isn't it?
Yeah.
So at the time of recording this, it's 2025. I don't know what time people are actually listening back to it. But so you've made a huge difference for your community. And I know that you've been investigating both endometriosis and I'll let you say it for me.
Adenomyosis.
Adenomyosis. I don't know why I'm struggling to say that today. And then we met, we had a conversation, and you talked to me about menopause and becoming a menopause coach. What was it that made you think about taking on that training?
So you popped up on my Facebook feed as I was waiting for my hysterectomy.
What a time for me to pop into your life. Okay.
And I just thought, oh, okay, because women's health has become my passion. It's become my obsession. It has become my life. And I thought that would actually maybe be really amazing, and it would be really good for myself as well. So yeah, had a conversation with my husband and signed up.
Yeah. Amazing. And what's that journey been like, going through the Menopause Coach program?
Oh, it was amazing. I loved my Fridays. It was such a positive feeling, and everybody was so nice, and it was so lovely to meet people from all around the world. It was just incredible, and to learn from your knowledge. And and menopause plan, it's changed my life. And you know, I have worked with clients, and it's changed their lives.
Yeah. Tell me a bit more about that, because obviously I've put together what I think is quite a generic coaching program, but it touches on what I've seen over the last 10, 11 years to be the key areas of people's lives where they can make an impact themselves. They don't have to go to a doctor. They don't need to go to a personal trainer or a nutritionist. They're small incremental changes that people can make for themselves, that I've seen people have quite reasonable transformations going forward. So what sort of changes did you see in yourself or with your clients?
Yeah, it's really made me stop and think. So I used to be quite bad for drinking diluting juice, and I've binned it, and I'm now drinking water. Focusing on having my caffeine, like I have my cup of coffee out quite early in the morning, that's made a huge difference to my sleep. Movement. I love the word movement because I've always had a bad relationship with exercise. And the routines. You know, it's quite easy to lie in sometimes if you're not feeling 100%, but actually forcing yourself to get up is actually better. And it's, you know, getting into better routines, and the decluttering. Just love a good declutter. It's just been transformational. I think life gets busy and we forget to look after ourselves sometimes.
Yeah.
And, like we kind of had the accountability with each week that we worked with somebody. And then people that come to coach with us, they've got us to hold them accountable. And I think that makes a huge difference.
I think we can often miss that connectivity with other human beings. And especially, I know you're in Caithness, but I see in bigger cities, especially where people don't know their neighbours anymore.
Yeah.
And, quite the opposite to what you said at the beginning, where everyone knows everybody, like everyone knows each other's business. You can't sneeze without someone knowing that you've got a cold, sort of thing. And that's one of the reasons I left where I grew up, because I just felt like everyone knew my business. But now I see that as a positive because people care. And yes, you might have nosy neighbours and things like that. But I think having a community around you is such a powerful thing to have, and that sense of belonging and knowing people care and knowing that you care for someone, because it's not just having someone care about you, but being able to care for other people is important. And if you live in isolation from other beings, even if you're living in the street with hundreds of people, but if you don't know anyone, you don't communicate with them, I think that can really affect your mental health as well. And I see that all the time. So the coaching, I know, is powerful. But the menopause plan itself, how have you been using that since you graduated from the program?
So I have worked with some clients, which has been amazing. It's been lovely to see a transformation for them, and I just keep kind of grounding myself back down to sort of use it as well. And I just think it's amazing. I just think it is such a good plan.
And how do you coach? Because I think, if I remember right, you like to coach in person rather than online or on the phone. Is that right?
I've done a mixture, so I will offer it in person. I've got a lovely log cabin with a log burner, which is a really nice atmosphere to come into. Or I have worked with clients on the phone, and I'm happy to do online as well. So yeah.
Which do you prefer, or which do you think are most effective for you as a coach?
I am an absolute people person, and I love to offer a hug as well if somebody's upset. So yeah, I am an in-person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe you'll find that people are coming from the cities for 100 miles to come and see you as their coach.
So who knows?
Maybe we need to turn that one on its head, right? That's a possibility. That's a possibility. So what are your plans now? I mean, you've done so much to help other people, and you continue to do so much to help other people. But what do you see over the next sort of 3 to 5 years for yourself?
So the business is slowly building up. So I'm just trying to sort of promote it. And yeah, going out to do things. I've got a stall at a jobs fair this weekend.
Wow.
I saw it as a good opportunity to go out and speak. So my stall is going to be all things periods this weekend, because it's going to be a lot of younger people. And I thought it was also a good opportunity to go and network with other businesses and maybe see if anybody was interested in training workshops and stuff. I would actually quite like to do like a day retreat for World Menopause Day this year. So that's something that I'm kind of working towards. Yeah, and just keep promoting and hopefully get some more coaching clients and see how it goes. But workshops have had quite a bit of interest, so that's quite good.
Yeah, and I think, you've got so much to offer people from your own background, from your own training, from your own experience, that you've got the perfect blend of everything that you could possibly need and want. So if anyone's listening who is looking to run a workshop, who is in that north of Scotland space, or anyone's looking for help and support, I would highly recommend that you reach out to Kirsteen and just have that conversation and find out what's available and what you might be able to help and support you. Kirsteen, is there anything else that we haven't kind of touched on today that you would love to share?
Just that I am probably in a base place that I have been in a really long time. So anybody that's maybe just starting out on their journey with endometriosis, keep in there. There is really tough days, but there's amazing communities out there. You're not alone. A community does see you and hear you and believe you. One day it will get better.
Yeah. And how are you finding life now? From a
I
pain
love
management
life
point of view.
just now. I've had more time for myself in the last year. I've kind of had a wee bit of sort of career break. I've called it my menopause leave, which has been lovely.
Hey.
It's just been putting myself at the centre. And I'm now receiving a lidocaine infusion every 6 weeks from a pain service, which has really changed my life. I don't have pain, which is
Oh,
incredible. My pain is so settled. So there's no extra painkillers. There's no hot water bottle strapped to me. It's just lovely. And I would actually use the word exercising, which I would never have done before. But yeah, I'm just
yeah.
really, really enjoying it and looking to the future. We've got our silver wedding anniversary next year. And hoping to go.
Is it a big one?
Yeah, 25 years. So hoping to go
25 years.
and do a big trip together. So it'd be lovely.
Oh, congratulations. So you're in such a better place now. So I think you're a shining example of hope for other people as well. And obviously there are many and different ways that different parts of the world and the country, you know, here in the UK, support people with endometriosis. And I'm absolutely galled that you've had so many years with so much pain, and delighted for you that you've found a solution that's working for you. What is in your future? What do you see yourself doing now, going forward?
I do want to continue to keep going women's health.
Yeah.
To make a business work and for it to be full time would be amazing. I'm absolutely thrilled to be appointed to Royal College of Obs and Gynae as on the Women's Network as a lay member. It's a true privilege. I'm the only person from Scotland, so it's just incredible. And just keep making up all these amazing connections, and yeah, it's just lovely. I'm really going to just look forward to living my life now.
Kirsteen, thank you so much for taking time to have a chat, and I can't wait to catch up with you again in a few months and just see where this is all taking you and see what you're doing then. So
Thanks,
thank
Lauren.
you again, and look forward to chatting to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on Women of a Certain Stage. I hope today's episode inspired you to think differently about menopause and the incredible opportunities this stage of life brings. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with 3 friends who need to hear this message. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review. It helps us reach even more people. You can connect with me on LinkedIn at Lauren Turin, or visit our website at womenofacertainstage.com to learn more about menopause coaching, inspiring events, and corporate training. Until next time, let's continue making a difference, one conversation at a time.